This is perhaps one of the most disturbing video montages I've ever seen in my life. It shows scenes taken from a series of blockbuster movies showing massive destruction, and it's kind of a porn movie about mass murder where we see billions of people dying, and this person has presented this something that looks like a dream out of the last days of Hitler, of a mass destruction of humanity. And yet this is presented to a kind of beautiful, almost religious type music. The music sounds almost like it's something you'd hear in a cathedral, and then we get references to the Bible underneath it, references to texts to the Bible, and there seems to be, I mean, I can't quite get it, but there seems to be this religious belief that this is somehow a holy act, that this person is engaging in a Christian statement by doing this. And one just needs to ask it, when one looks at 25% of Americans believe that they're certain that the world is going to end like something like this within their lifetimes. That we're almost, and they've been certain about this since I've been counting, which unfortunately is about 35 years now. What's the motivation? What is the desire? What a kind of a religion dreams or desires a mass death of billions of people that see this as beautiful? I mean, it's probably twisted enough that Hollywood feels the need to insert these kind of scenes of destruction in these moronic blockbuster movies it produces that just shows, more and more destruction, like 2012 or a whole series of these kind of snuff films that Hollywood has embraced. But the fact that a person who, presents himself, it seems, as a Christian, would then edit these pieces together and create a fantasy nightmare of the most horrific destruction, it's an ugly, disturbing nightmare, and yet it's presented as an act of religious faith. I do try to have tolerance for religions. Myself, I'm an atheist. But when I see this, when I see people like this, and I see people in Al-Qaeda celebrating the destruction of the Twin Towers, it seems that what we're facing in our survival as a human race, we're facing in the United States particularly, and in certain parts of the Middle East, we're presented with a number of people who crave the destruction of Earth, who yearn for the death of most of humanity. And I find this deeply troubling, and I would certainly would never want to meet or discuss the person who edited this particular video, and would appeal to anyone who finds this attractive to maybe go talk to someone, a religious leader, or and an established, not some guy who just started a church a few years ago who's asking for donations, but maybe a more established religious leader, or maybe even a doctor, and say, doctor, I fantasize about the mass murder of most of humanity on a scale that a Hitler or a Stalin or a Mao couldn't even have imagined. I crave, I see this as a good thing, a thing that is in the best benefit of humanity and its moral development. I couldn't even imagine, frankly, how a doctor would particularly respond to this. But I mean, I have to say one thing: it's good editing, and the music sounds very fine. And if it wasn't for the religious references, it might just be kind of a interesting collage tribute to destruction in the movies. The problem is the religious connotations element, that this is somehow a legitimate form of religious Christian expression. And also saying that there are a lot of people who think like this is very worrisome.